Good evening and welcome to Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, where PGA and LPGA players, legends, and top instructors go to share their insights and playing lessons. Join Chris every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as he talks with the greats of the game. Tonight's show is sponsored by the French Lick Resort, Ben Hogan Golf, the PGA Tour Superstore, the Salt Creek Golf Retreat, TaylorMade Golf, the Bobby Jones Apparel Company, and Super Speed Golf. Now here's your host, Chris Mascaro.
Good evening, folks, and happy Election Day 2018, and welcome to Next on the Tee. I'm your host, Chris Mascaro, and first of all, I hope all of you went out and cast your vote today. Always be sure to be a part of the democratic process. Never think your vote doesn't matter, because all of our votes really do. I want to thank you again for being here tonight and making us a part of your golfing content again this week. If you're new to the show, welcome aboard. It's great having you. We appreciate you checking us out very much. And tonight we're going to have a lot of fun because I have two great guests that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. My first guest tonight is going to be Master Kids instructor Michelle Holmes. Michelle is from Western Ireland. She is a multi-time Irish juniors champion. So she knows exactly what junior golfers need instruction-wise and emotionally from their parents in order to have fun and play well. I look forward to talking about that. Plus, she recently took a trip to Kenya, which I'm also looking forward to hearing all about as well. So a lot to get into when Michelle joins me. She'll be along here in just a few minutes. Following her, I'm going to get a return visit from top golf course designer Bill Bergin, and Bill is always fantastic. He is currently putting the finishing touches on a course just outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee, that he co-designed with Reese Jones. We had Reese on a couple of months ago talking about the course. It's called the Macklemore, which is up on Lookout Mountain, and it looks absolutely spectacular. Go online and check it out for yourself at themacklemore.com. We'll talk about that project and what else he has coming up. Plus, he's an Auburn alumni, so we'll talk about their golf team, which just won the Eastlake Cup match play event here in Atlanta. I'll probably sneak in a couple of football questions as well. Bill will join me a little bit later on in this half hour. So a lot more great stories and information coming your way tonight on this edition of Next on the Tee. Again, thank you so much for tuning in and taking the journey with me over the next hour. But before we get started, I want to remind you about our good friend Mitchell Lawrence and his great golf show that marries golf and travel. It is called Talking Golf Getaways, which you can find online at golfnewsnet.com or over on Audio Boom, or really anywhere you consume podcasts. He and his co-host Darren Bunch travel all over the world, and they let you know great places to play, stay, and even eat while you're there. Again, it's called Talking Golf Getaways, and you can stream it online at golfnewsnet.com or over on Audio Boom. His twin brother Matthew and his show Backspin Golf is on hiatus now for a while, which you guys know I'm not happy about at all. Matthew has destroyed my Sunday mornings now, but to his credit, he did call me last Sunday at 8:04 a.m. Eastern Time. I told him, look, if you're going to go off the air for a few months, you got to call me. We got to talk golf on Sunday mornings until the show comes back on. And lo and behold, he did. I encourage you to go online to WLXG.com and check out his archive shows as a podcast because, again, the show is really great. Again, it's called Backspin Golf, and you can stream it. You can stream the shows from this season as a podcast on WLXG.com or by downloading the WLXG app. And, folks, as you know, we are sponsored by the French Lick Resort. Let's hear a word from our good friend Steve Rondinero about what they've got going on up there.
Play legendary golf at French Lick Resort, the only place in the country where you can play courses by two Hall of Fame designers on the same property. Our Pete Dye and Donald Ross courses offer two very different challenges. Experience them both and save with our Hall of Fame package. Our two historic hotels are unique as well. Cap it off with a fun visit to the French Lick Casino. Check us out online at FrenchLick.com. Bring a group and save even more. Play legendary golf this season at French Lick Resort.
Yeah, folks, go online to FrenchLick.com to see for yourself what a wonderful place it is and to book your stay as well. Also want to give a shout out to our friends at the Ben Hogan Golf Equipment Company. And folks, if you haven't hit Ben Hogan irons since the 80s or the 90s, do yourself a favor. Get a demo iron of either their Fort Worth, PTX, or new Edge irons, and go out on the range and compare them to whatever you have. All Ben Hogan irons and wedges are handcrafted one at a time in their Fort Worth, Texas factory No mass production, no shortcuts. Now you can custom order irons, wedges, hybrids by going online to benhogangolf.com. They're going to build those clubs to your specifications. And best of all, charge you a fraction of the typical retail price. Check out their complete line of forged irons, wedges, utility irons, hybrids, bags, and accessories at benhogangolf.com. Please also check out our friends at the Bobby Jones Apparel Company by going online to bobbyjones.com. Their fall collection is out. And now is the perfect opportunity to change things up layer upon layer. They make style easy. Find carefully coordinated outfits in a variety of colors and options. The Bobby Jones brand delivers excellence as genuine as the legend himself with their collection of golf performance and lifestyle apparel for both men and women. See it online by going to bobbyjones.com. And folks, this segment of the show is sponsored by the PGA Tour Superstore.
This segment of the show is brought to you by the PGA Tour Superstore. See why golfers everywhere are proud to call PGA Tour Superstore their golf pro shop. Visit them online at PGATourSuperstore.com. Now back to Chris and more of the show.
And folks, in appreciation of the men and women who have served or are currently serving our country, PGA Tour Superstore, the area's leading golf and tennis retailer, is going to be offering a 25% discount on purchases from November 7th through the 11th in honor of Veterans Day. The military discount applies in stores only, and guests must present a valid military ID, and some restrictions do apply. All right, now joining me here on the French Lick Resort guest line is Michelle Holmes. Let me give you a little more background on Michelle. She is from Mayo, Ireland, which is in the central west coast of Ireland. She started playing golf at the age of 10. At St. Mary's Secondary School, she finished first in the All-Ireland Schools singles and second in the All-Ireland Schools doubles matches. She won 2 All-Ireland titles and 7 provincial titles as well in the under-18 age bracket. She was selected to play for both her provincial and the Ireland under-18 teams. She got a scholarship to play her college golf here in the States at Campbell University. In 2001 and 2002, in that season, she was named to the All-Atlantic Sun All-Freshman team. In the 2003-2004 year, she earned a spot in the Atlantic Sun All-Academic team and finished tied for 16th at the Atlantic Sun Championship. And she helped the Lady Camels win the Atlantic Sun title that year by 26 strokes, folks. So now she is an LPGA teaching professional, a master U.S. kids instructor, and I'm thrilled to have her with me tonight here on Next on the Tee. Hey, Michelle, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, Chris, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
So, Michelle, like I mentioned a moment ago, I read that you started playing golf at the age of 10 with your father. So help me understand, what got you so interested in the game of golf and taking it up at such a young age?
So my dad and my granddad and my granduncles used to play, and then my dad used to take me to the driving range on Friday evening. And I wasn't completely sold on the whole golf thing, but what I was sold on was the little contest they used to have at the driving range. I used to win movie theater tickets every Friday night. And then my mom would let me take my friends to the movies on Saturday. So that was kind of what sparked my interest at the beginning. I wanted those movie theater tickets. And eventually I kind of fell in love with the game after that.
And Michelle, I also read your sister Laura was a really good junior player as well. So talk about playing, with your sister. And did you guys have a sibling rivalry, or did you just like playing the game together?
No, we just like playing the game together. There's 6 years between us, so I think the age gap was big enough that it really wasn't a rivalry. She had a very good junior career, and then she followed me over here to America. I played at Campbell University, and right when I graduated from Campbell, I decided to move to Virginia, and she was looking at colleges at the time, so she decided to pick a college in Virginia, and she played for Old Dominion University. She had a great four-year career there, and then she came and we're teaching together now. So she actually has the second location of the Michelle Holmes School of Golf. So she's got a pretty big program going down there herself.
And Michelle, as we see here in the States, when we're watching the Open Championship every year, we know that the weather over there is always a factor, and as they say, you can see all 4 seasons in a day. So I was curious, when you were growing up and playing in juniors tournaments, what's the worst weather conditions you ever had to go out and play in?
Probably actually the last the last national title I won, I actually won the Connacht Ladies Championship. And I remember the weather was so bad. I think I went through something like 11 gloves in the final round. And I think I won the match on the 16th. So we didn't even play a full round. And I think we went through 11 gloves in that round.
Wow.
Yeah, I've become so Americanized now. So when I go home now, you know, in the mornings, Dad will come into my bedroom and he'll be like, Michelle, you want to go play golf? And I'll just hear the rain beating the window. And I'm like, Dad, just leave me alone. So he always gives me grief for being too Americanized now.
But, you know, to that point, based on the things that you grew up having to play in those conditions, when players over here complain, whether it's too windy or maybe it's drizzling a little bit, do you laugh at them? How do you deal with people that don't want to get out if it's not just absolutely perfect weather?
Yeah, you do see that here a lot. And I remember I went home a couple of years ago and they had a junior tournament and the weather was really bad. And I was convinced this tournament has got to be cancelled today. And the organizers were looking at me like, no, the kids are going to play. And I was thinking, if this was in America, you would be done for child cruelty or something. You know, so it's just it's a different world, but that's all they have over there. That's what you grew up with. And, you know, it's kind of going forward a bit. I remember when I came to America, I used to think, you know, all these American girls, they really have these great golf swings but they just didn't know how to play the game as well as, let's say, I thought the European players did. And what I mean by that is I felt like the European players were able to scramble better. They played in more elements. So they were just able to get the ball in the hole just that little bit better, I thought. So it's interesting that I saw that as soon as I came to America.
And Michelle, I have to believe that maybe European players are more mentally tough than maybe we are here, because you've got to block all of those things out and focus on the job at hand. Talk about teaching kids. How do you block that stuff out when you have to deal with all of those conditions?
Well, my kids here have kind of gotten used to the fact that I'm going to make them play in rain. And it's funny, you know, even at our local tour, like I run the local US kids tour, and you know, if it's a rainy day, I'm going to make them play. They know I'm not cancelling. And sometimes they'll complain about it, but years later, they'll have a big tournament they have to play in, and they'll come back and say, you know what, thank you. All those days you made us go out there and practice and play in the rain, we're grateful for it now.
So, Michelle, I got to ask, you know, how does a girl from the west coast of Ireland end up playing her college golf at Campbell University in North Carolina?
You know what? I actually still don't really know, but I got offered a scholarship to play at Campbell, and I had never been to America before. And back then, recruiting trips really weren't the big thing. Like, there was no such thing as coming across on a recruiting trip. So when I got to North Carolina, I really thought I was going to New York City. I mean, that's all I had ever seen on TV. So when I landed in the boondocks of North Carolina, I got the biggest culture shock of my life. I called my parents that night and I was like, where have you sent me? So it was a big culture shock, but I absolutely loved my 4 years at Campbell, and you know, I wouldn't change it for the world, but it really was a shock at the time.
Yeah, so talk about the decision to come here.
So the decision to come here, well, I'm a bit of a free spirit, so I jumped on that right away. I can't remember how the scholarship offer came about, but as soon as that offer came, I was like, I'm going. There was no turning back with that. So my parents just sent me off on an airplane. I had 2 suitcases. My coach picked me up at Campbell, and off I went. I figured life out from there.
So how was the adjustment coming from Ireland to come here? All of a sudden you're in a different country. You don't know anybody outside of a couple of times, probably meeting your coach. Talk about assimilating in and sort of making North Carolina now your second home.
So yeah, it was my roommate. She was from Lumberton, North Carolina, so she had the biggest redneck accent. And when she met me, when she walked in, she asked me, I spoke to her and she said, I'm really sorry, but do you speak English? So that was a tough start. I hadn't a clue what she was saying and she hadn't a clue what I was saying. We ended up being the best of friends. We actually ended up being roommates for 3 years, so it was fine. But no, as far as Campbell University goes, I mean, it's a small school, a huge golf program, a really good golf program. It has a big international student base. I think my senior year, we had 11 girls on the team and only one was American. So again, international students tend to follow each other. You know, you just kind of tend to follow your own, I guess. So we met it like home.
So, Tiger, what was your favorite memory from the tournaments and your time being there at Campbell?
My favorite memory, let me see. I used to always love the trip to Kiowa Island. So I loved Kiowa. Of course, my favorite memories are probably just the wins with the girls. You know, we won the ACC championship a couple of times. And, yeah, I mean, they're just times that you know, I always say if you can play college golf, they're the best 4 years of your life.
Michelle, now when you're working with junior golfers, you know, when I look at it, my son's a junior golfer. When I look at kids his age, he's in high school, and kids even younger than that. You know, such a short attention span kids have now, and it's more about instant gratification and all of those sorts of things. How do you keep your junior golfers engaged and you know, wanting to come back and wanting to practice and having fun with the game?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest, of course, you got to make it fun. So, you know, we follow the US Kids model of teaching through games, you know, from an early age. And we teach as much as we can on the golf course. We find the kids, you know, much prefer that. But I think the biggest reason our program has been such a success is one of the things we do is, you know, everyone takes private lessons, and then we also have group practices every week. So, you know, we have a huge amount of juniors, so I can really handpick those practices. So let's say at 4:30 on a Monday, I might have a group of girls in that are between the age of 10 and 11. There'll be 6 girls in the group, and those girls are they're the same age, they're about the same level, and they're going to practice week in, week out at 4:30 together on a Monday. And I just feel like that's a huge part of why my program has been successful, is that they're coming back, they're playing with their friends every week, and they're playing with people who are about the same ability or a little bit better than them, and that just helps push them. I guess, you know, I think the biggest thing, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I really think we've created, it's not just a golf lesson, we've really created a family in our program.
So with kids that are age 10 and 11, now you've got the winter coming up. Mm-hmm. How do you keep them to want to come back and want to get back into the game of golf? And for all of us that are trying to keep the rust off our swings, I imagine kids that are 10, 11 years old, how do you keep them engaged over the wintertime?
Well, we are very lucky in that we have our own indoor facility. So we just actually moved indoors. So we have an indoor facility about 10 minutes away from the golf course that we're at year round. And that indoor facility has 2 simulators and some hitting nets. And upstairs we've got one big like short game area. So the kids are loving the indoor facility. Obviously gets them out of the cold and it lets them train through the winter. And we feel like then, you know, especially the competitive kids, they're hitting the ground running in the springtime when it comes tournament time. So we found that our tournament results in spring have been much better over the last couple of years since we've opened up that indoor facility. So they're really enjoying that.
And Michelle, you tweeted out a great piece of advice for parents, not only for junior golfers, but just children athletes in general. And what you said was, the greatest gift you can give your child athlete is the freedom to play without fear. Be the calm in their game. Don't be the chaos. Talk about what you meant by that.
I mean, you just see so many kids. You know, I was at a big tournament recently, and I actually said to another coach, I said, I've rolled around the golf course and I've watched a lot of players, and I said, I feel like I've seen one kid today play without any kind of fear. And, you know, that's just a really sad case to me. So I really try and work on that with our kids and parents, in that to be able to play this game, you have to have a clear mind. So I'm always begging my parents and caddies to play the game. When they turn up on a given day, just let them go play golf. Let the result be the result. Let's deal with that tomorrow, but let them play golf with a free mind. You know, I don't want them out there thinking, oh, what's mom going to say, or what's dad going to say, or what's my coach going to say.
So that's the question, right? Where does that fear come from? Is that stuff that we as parents instill in the child? Is that trying to live up to what our expectations are? How do we turn that fear off?
Well, it's probably a lot of different things. Probably a lot of it is just, probably parents, living through their kids a little bit, or just, wanting it too badly for their kids. Like, I think, the biggest thing I see is, parents really want it for their kids, and they think that winning is going to make their child really happy. But really, I mean, if I was to line up my 10 best golfers and ask them what's the most important thing to them about golf, I guarantee not one of them would say anything about winning. They would say playing golf with my family, or playing golf with my friends, or, just having fun with it. But I think that what a parent thinks the child needs and what the child actually wants, I think, are two different things. So we've got to be very clear on that.
So have you ever had to pull a parent aside and try to level set their expectations so that the game could remain fun for one of your students?
All the time, and I have absolutely no problem doing it, and my parents know that. And, at the end of the day, I'm here for the kids, so I have no problem speaking up on that kind of matter. I do firmly believe that no matter how talented your child is, they have to really love this game. You think about it, even the best players on tour, even if you get to tour level, and not many people have the chance to do that, but even if you get to tour level, you have to really love this game to want to stand out on that driving range and practice for 12 hours a day, like you would have to if you were at a tour level. So, no matter how far you can push your child, at some point they've got to take it on their own, and they're going to have to really love it to want to be able to push it to that next level. Even if it's college, I mean, you think about college golf, you're practicing 4 or 5 hours a day. You've got to really love this game to want to do that.
So if you had students come to you and, hey, lesson's over, that sort of thing, no, I want to stay, I want to do more, help me with this, show me that. Do you have students that are reaching out and that proactive because you can start to feel that they're starting to have a budding love for the game?
Oh, definitely. I mean, to be honest, we see that every day. People always ask me, how do you create such great golfers? And we've had a lot of good golfers come out of our program. And, I really say, it goes back to my mission. My mission is not to create a great golfer. My mission is to create experiences that encourage kids to play the game forever. And I think by creating those experiences and, of course, giving them good, fundamentals, the kids, by creating those experiences, the kids just want to come back every single day. I mean, they're running in to see us. And, when they want to come back every day and they're practicing every day, then all of a sudden we got some good golfers on our hands.
Michelle, what's the nicest thing one of your students has ever said to you?
What's the nicest thing? Actually, the first thing that comes to mind is one of my little girls asked me to come to her Christmas recital this past Christmas. And I've gone to plenty of things like basketball games and Christmas concerts and whatever else. But when I got there, her grandmother had said how Hannah earlier that day had said, Michelle is just like family to me. And that just kind of stuck because, I mean, she only has her immediate family here in the area. And I was just so touched that she thought of me as, that person that she wanted to invite to that recital. So that really stood with me.
No doubt. But that's fantastic.
We deal with a lot of, nice kids and nice families. So, just going to work every day, I feel like the luckiest girl in the world. So it's been a fun journey with these kids.
Michelle, just a couple more before we let you go. And you recently took a trip over to Kenya. Talk about what it was like and what made you decide to go over there.
So Kenya was an amazing experience. I learned so much about life while I was over there. So myself and Zoe Allen went. Zoe is a good friend of mine. She's a pro in Northern Ireland. And we have a good friend in Manu Casio. And he has a program over in Kenya. And just for a number of years now, we've kind of been saying to Emmanuel, yeah, we're going to come over. And then, so I finally said to Zoe, I said, come on, we got to do it. So, we booked to go over. We were over there mid-October, and we were over there for 2 weeks, and we got to go into some council schools, and I guess you could say just help a lot of underprivileged kids, and not even, I mean, we did teach them golf, but what I realized at the end of every day, it wasn't really the golf we taught them. It was just this time we got to spend with them. And it was a big eye opener for me. It was a big life lesson for me. They have very little over there and they're so happy. And, just even the kids, there was times where I had we had 50 to 60 kids in front of us and we couldn't even put golf equipment in their hands. They were just so eager and happy, even just to, swing with no equipment or no golf balls. That was just a big eye opener to me.
Had any of them ever played golf or knew what golf was?
And we did deal with some kids who had, and I know Kenya just had, I think 3 or 4 kids last year at the World Championships, and we did see some of those kids over there, so that was lovely. But as far as the council schools who went into the underprivileged kids, most of them had never played golf before. They maybe had played, with Emmanuel and his program, but I'm not sure how often he gets to go in and see each school, but no, very little. But we did see some good golf swings, and it was just amazing just to see how happy they were and just so eager to learn. That's what just stood out to me. They were just so excited and eager to learn.
So Michelle, what's up next for you? What's going on with you over this winter?
Hopefully just improving everyone's golf game. Let me see if I have anything else going on. I'm going to go to the PGA show in January, so I love that show. I know we just lost our home base golf course, so I'm going to be busy over the next month or so checking out all the other facilities in the area and trying to decide, what facility we would like to go to and who would like to have us bring our program to their course. So we've got some figuring out to do. But we'll be at the indoor facility for the winter, so that's fine. We'll be there until about March, but we just need to find a new home course for the kids come springtime.
Yeah, and your course just closed out of nowhere, right? One day everything was there, and the next day it was closed.
Yeah. So we have been hearing rumors for a while, but to be honest, the rumors have been going on for so long that they kind of faded away again. But then last Sunday I was running a US Kids golf tournament at the course, and I just finished the last presentation of the day, and then we got word from the pro shop that, hey, this is going to be our last day. So it was quite a shock. I actually still think I'm in shock. I don't think it has hit me yet, but I'm staying positive, and I feel like we will find a new spot and all will be good.
Michelle, before we let you go, let our listeners know, how can they stay up to date with all the great things you're doing, whether it's online or it's on social media?
Okay, so we do a lot on social media, and we have an Instagram page. It's called Michelle Holmes Golf, and we have a Twitter page. The handle is Holmes Golf, and then we do a lot on Facebook as well. Our Facebook page is Michelle Holmes School of Golf. Questions or any parents want to reach out, I'd be glad to chat.
Michelle, it's been great spending some time with you and having you as part of the show tonight. I hope you'll come back and join me again sometime. Love to hear about all the fun things that you've got going on and talk more junior golf and hear how things are going over the winter. You've been fantastic.
That's for sure. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Take care, Michelle. All the best to you and your family.
Okay, bye-bye.
That is Michelle Holmes, and wow. Talk about some great things. First of all, that lesson for parents. Oh, by the way, be the calm in their game. Don't be the chaos. I love that quote. I got that written down. And so many great things that she is doing for junior golf up in that Virginia area. Please go check her out. Give her a follow online and on social media as well. All right, before I get to my next guest, Bill Bergin, I want to give a shout out to a few of our sponsors. First, I want to give a shout out to our friends at Super Speed Golf. Now used by over half of the tour players around the world, Super Speed Golf is the fastest and most effective way to increase your swing speed. 3 8-minute training sessions per week are all you need to see a 5% increase in your swing speed. And with sets now for golfers of all ages and over 1 year of included video instruction, Super Speed offers a complete solution that's going to help you start bombing it off the tee. Visit them online at superspeedgolf.com to pick up your set today. Also want to let you know, in honor of Veterans Day, GolfTech is supporting PGA Reach, the charitable foundation of the PGA of America, by offering 1 complimentary lesson or tech fit fitting session to anyone who makes a small donation to PGA Hope, which is the flagship military engagement program of PGA Reach. And PGA Hope, and Hope stands for Helping Our Patriots Everywhere. It's a free adaptive golf program that introduces golf to veterans with disabilities to enhance their physical, mental, social, and emotional well-being. The offer is redeemable at participating GolfTech locations around the country between November 5th and November 11th. And also let me remind you about my M4 driver from TaylorMade. Folks, if you haven't tried TaylorMade's twist face technology, you're missing out. I don't know about you, but I don't hit it in the center of the face every single time. After studying hundreds of thousands of swings from pros and amateurs like us, TaylorMade designed their new driver to help protect us from our mishits and give us straighter distance. So whether your miss is on the low heel or the high toe, Twist Face helps bring the ball back to center, keeping the distance we want and finding the fairway more often. The new drivers are also the choice of some pretty good golfers you might have heard of. Twist Face is played by Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, Jason Day, Jon Rahm, and Justin Rose, to name just a few, and dominating the top 10 out on tour. So if you haven't tried Twist Face, go hit it and get fit. It's in the new M3 and M4 drivers and only from TaylorMade. All right, now back with me and making his 5th appearance on the French Lick Resort guest line is Bill Bergin. Let me remind you about Bill's background. Played his college golf at Auburn University from 1978 to 1981, and he was named first team All-SEC every year, and he helped Auburn win the 1981 SEC championship. His 65 at the 1979 Pan American Tournament still ranks as one of the lowest 18-hole scores in Auburn golf history. He's played in over 250 professional tournaments worldwide, including 3 U.S. Opens, 2 Open Championships, and over 50 PGA Tour events. He's now recognized as one of the top golf course designers around the world, and he started his own design company called Bergin Golf Designs, and he has designed or redesigned courses all across the country and around the world. He's been involved in over 70 golf course design projects, highlighted by his completed courses at places like the Chattanooga Golf and Country Club, which is a Donald Ross designed course along the Tennessee River that Bill helped restore. He recently redesigned Minnesota Valley Country Club, which is a Seth Reiner design. He and Reese Jones have collaborated on the Macklemore Golf Club just outside of Chattanooga, and he's got several other projects in the works. You can see his works by going online to his site, bergingolf.com, and I'm excited he is back with me tonight here on Next on the Tee. Hey, Bill, thanks for coming back on the show.
Hey, Chris. I'm glad to be here, and I have got to give a shout out to Michelle. I'm a big fan of hers, and she does some wonderful things, and she's also been a big advocate of the Longleaf Tee system. So it's good to see that she and I were on the same show today.
I appreciate that. So, Bill, I got to start by getting your thoughts on your Auburn Tigers. First, on the football side, I'm sure this hasn't been the season you and Auburn fans were hoping for, but still got an opportunity to impact the national championship hopes for both Georgia and Alabama. So how do you feel about Auburn for the rest of the season?
You know, we could probably talk about that for the rest of the segment, but you know, we have such potential, but yet you just never know what you're going to get. It was great to see that last drive on Saturday. Really the last couple minutes of that game were amazing for our quarterback and for our team. That was the first really come from behind victory we've had in a long time. So I know that what we did last year was pretty miraculous, beating Georgia and Alabama. In fact, we were the team that beat the 2 teams that played in the national championship game. So that was a moral victory for Auburn last year. But yeah, this season's been a little bit disappointing, but it's always fun. Game day down at Auburn University is a special thing. If you've never been down there, it is an amazing place. I wish I got the chance to go more often.
So maybe on a happier side, the Auburn men's golf team just won the East Lake Cup, defeating Alabama, oh, by the way, to win it. They're ranked 15th in the poll that came out most recently on October the 30th. So talk about Auburn golf and how you feel about where the program's at.
Absolutely. And the women's team just won a tournament this week. So I'm not actually sure which tournament it was. I think it was in Texas maybe, but they won a tournament as well. So really a great 2 weeks for the Auburn golf program. We have excellent coaches, and that's really where things start. I mean, Nick Kleinert and Melissa Llewellyn have done a fantastic job with our teams. I am fortunate to be involved with things down there. We just built a new practice green to add to we have a 22-acre practice facility at Auburn for the golf teams. It's incredible. Wow. Big driving range, you know, with both ends, obviously. That's the easy part. And then we have 8 acres on the far side, which has 4 greens, and they're USGA spec greens where you can really do anything from 200 yards down to, to chip shots. So they are able to recreate situational practice. Anything they need to do, they're able to do that. But one thing was an all Bermuda grass golf course. And as you know, these college teams are traveling all over the country now. And so the coaches wanted a bent grass green. And so we built a new one this year. in a really good environment. Auburn's hot down there, and so to grow bent grass, you need great sunlight and great air circulation. And so we built it up on top of an old range tee, and it's a nice, almost 8,000 square foot green with the AU Victory bent grass, which is developed at Auburn, and it is more heat tolerant. And it's kind of fun to be able to use our own grass on this facility and just offer the teams another way of preparing for the championships that they play in. And so, last year they were semifinalists, I believe, at the NCAA championship out at Oklahoma State, and they played at Karsten Creek, which was a bent grass golf course. Well, we don't get to putt on bent grass all the time. And so now this green is about to open this month. They'll be able to prepare more, and they've really got everything you could ask for as far as a college golf program goes. So it's a terrific place, and the young men and women that play out of that facility are really fortunate.
Bill, I want to talk a little bit about some of your most recent work, and I've seen several pictures of the Macklemore course that you and Reese Jones have co-designed. It absolutely looks spectacular. Catch us up on how that project is coming.
Yeah, Macklemore is a resort second home community up on Lookout Mountain. And Lookout Mountain is basically a ridge line that runs south of Chattanooga. And it sits at 2,000 feet above sea level. Actually, we have spots on the course at about 2,200 feet. Well, Chattanooga is more like 600 feet. So that lets you know that elevation is significant. And it gives us these incredible views over Macklemore Cove, which is where our name is derived from. And it's a mountain resort type property. So it's rugged with lots of rock. It's got bent grass greens. It's got, Bermuda fairways, but a lot of cool season native grasses. And it's just in this place where you feel like you've left wherever your home was and gone on vacation. It just has that feel. It's a getaway place. We have plans for a Hilton hotel of their curio collection that's going to sit right on the ridge looking out over Macklemore Cove. And then our golf course just winds through this property through an area that we call the Canyon area, and then up on Highlands, which, is obviously a playoff of the Scottish term. And then we've got cliff holes. Our first hole and our 18th hole are right on the cliff. And I'm not a person who is a big fan of heights. And our 18th green, literally 10 yards left of our 18th green, it drops about 1,000 feet. So it's pretty dramatic and an incredible site with tons of beauty. And what we've added to it, we think, is just great golf. And it's a renovation. So 17 holes occupy the same ground, although we pushed and pulled like we always do. But we rebuilt all the greens complexes. So the shots around the greens are completely new. Tremendous diversity in short game opportunities. We've expanded greens complexes to make the complex play larger, but not necessarily the putting surface. And so that's something that I look at on all my designs. I like the golf course to actually play good, but yet we want to preserve par. We still want a challenging golf course. So, the closer you get to the hole, maybe possibly the more difficult it is, but we give you plenty of room to feel like the golf course is fair and fun. So definitely have done that at Macklemore and really done a great job. You've seen my bunkering and we take a lot of pride in that, but we've got just beautiful bunkering, interesting shots around the greens, and every hole is diverse. And in fact, it's one of those courses where you will remember all the golf holes because no two are alike, and they really just stand out. So it's been a really exciting project. We're almost finished, other than building that 18th hole, and its green is planted and growing in, but we're still building the 18th, and it sits literally along a ridge line right on the edge of a cliff, and there's just not many sites like that, certainly in the southeast. So we're really excited about opening that.
When do you anticipate the course being open?
I would think about May 1st, so it'll be in the spring, and literally, other than the 18th hole, we'll be certainly ready to go. It will be the one that determines when we do open, and we're still building it. I'm heading up there tomorrow, and we're shaping the fairway, building tees, getting ready to put irrigation in, but we've still got a little bit of rock we've got to get out of the way. This is a a rocky site. If you've ever been on Lookout Mountain, it's a tremendous area, and you literally have homes intermingled with giant boulders. And I'm talking boulders that are as big as the house. And you'll have a house just fits right in there with the boulders. Our golf course is a bit like that. And so it's an incredible place. I mean, things that people do up there, that they cycle, they hang glide, they rock climb, they hike. There's a lot to do in the area besides playing golf, but we want to make the golf the main attraction on this site.
So with that project wrapping up a bit, what are some of the other projects you're currently working on?
Yeah, so we're loaded up for the next couple of years, really. Although we're always looking for new things, but we're really loaded for the next couple of years. We've got 3 jobs up in the mountains. We're doing Big Canoe, which is a 27-hole community north of Atlanta in the mountains with a couple big lakes. And then we're working up in Highlands, which is one of the highest areas in the southeast. Highlands, North Carolina, sits at about 4,100 feet above sea level. So when it's 90 degrees in Atlanta, it's 72 degrees up there with no humidity, and it is remarkable. It is such a beautiful place. And we're working a course called Highlands Falls there. And then as you continue north up into North Carolina in the mountains, we're working in a place in a town called Roaring Gap, and at a course called High Meadows. So those are 3 mountain courses, that are all on our books right now. And then we've got a beach course down at Santa Rosa Beach. And so those are 4 of the projects that we're actively working on at the moment. And they're all sort of that second home or getaway resort type facilities. So some that certainly people who are listening can go play. So that's exciting as well.
So I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on some things going on around the game of golf and out on the tours. And we continue to see guys on the PGA Tour sort of bombing drives, 350 plus yards on a semi-regular basis. And they bomb it as far as they can off the tee because the fairways are so wide and the rough isn't all that high. And regardless of where the ball lands, they'll be able to gouge it out, get it, short iron, get it up on the green. And we saw how different the game is over in Europe at the Ryder Cup when the emphasis was more on driving accuracy. And our guys seem to struggle a bit because they're used to just hitting it all over the place. And over there, they couldn't get away with it. So I was curious to get your thought as a designer. Is that what we're going to have to do with the golf courses over here since we can hit it as far and, they're not going to put the toothpaste back in the tube with the golf ball and stuff like that. At least I can't imagine they are, or go to bifurcation. So are we going to have to do some things with the golf courses, like narrow the fairways, grow up the rough, and that sort of thing to keep the game and a lot of the golf courses around the country relevant?
That's a great question, and I've thought a lot about it. One of the things that you and I have talked about before that's a characteristic of our design work is our course ratings are actually quite difficult, and our slope ratings on our courses are modest. And what that means is for the average golfer, our courses are very playable, but for the better golfer, they're actually harder. And so we have a certain philosophy about the way we set up golf courses that I think would translate to the tour, although don't let me go too far down this road because I don't want to underestimate their abilities. I was fortunate to play in 50 PGA Tour events, but I would tell you that was in the 80s, and today they play a different game. They hit it so far, it's just almost beyond what I can fathom. And the launch angles that they hit the ball, you look at it and you go, well, that, back in the day, we considered that ball skied, and they've just flown it 330 yards at a trajectory that is really hard to imagine. So, adjusting the golf course for less, it's so much less than 1% really doesn't make a lot of sense. I think it's probably a bigger conversation piece than something that we need to worry about because there just aren't that many players that play at that level. For most golfers, we're building golf courses that are quite honestly much shorter. We're adding forward tees on every golf course that we do, and we do add length when we can, but what I've always found is I search for yardage diversity more than I search for a 74 or 7,500 yard golf course. I want a great mix. I want some short holes, I want some good long holes and stuff in between. And if you get that balance, I think you've got the best golf course. It's going to be really interesting to see how Pebble Beach plays because that course is probably just under 6,900 yards, which in today's world is really short. But the different thing at Pebble Beach that we haven't seen in a little while is the average green size is 4,000 square feet. So those are small targets. Those are really small targets. So players are not going to want to be in bad position. And the U.S. Open will probably grow a little bit more traditional rough next year. I was fortunate to play in the U.S. Open at Pebble in 1982. So I can't wait to watch it this summer and see how the game has changed and see how the golf course is set up and see how the players adapt to it. It's going to be really, really exciting.
So, Bill, as you mentioned hole diversity, I was curious, when you're doing an original course design and you've got a raw piece of property to work with, how do you determine how the course is going to be laid out? You know, length of holes, this one's going to be straight, this one is going to be a dogleg left, or this is going to be a dogleg right. When you're laying that whole thing out, how do you go about determining how that's going to, what that formation is going to look like?
Yeah, so it's interesting. In fact, I'm working on a new project up in Tennessee. It's not a full golf course, but it's a pretty cool golf amenity project. And you start out with a topo. And the topo tells you where your good green sites are. And the topo tells you where your angles are and which direction you're going. And it's literally designing a new golf course is literally a 20-piece puzzle. You've got 18 holes, you've got practice facilities, you've got clubhouse that you have to concern yourself with, and you may have a real estate component as well. But those 20 pieces of that 20-piece puzzle, we literally take templates, which are little, holes that are on a hinge that we lay on the topo, and we start playing with them just like you would with a puzzle. And you start, and the funny thing is, the land designs the golf course. The architect's job is to discover it. And, if you have the right property, that's a pretty easy thing. If you have a tougher property, it can be quite challenging. And we may do, 5 to 10 different routings when we're looking at a new golf course, just trying to fit the land. But some of those holes just keep showing up. I mean, you just go, that is such a good greens complex in that area. I'm going to keep that and I'm going to work around it. And then I look at, again, diversity. I'd love to design, and we have a bunch of them, but a bunch of one par 3 on each course that's 130 to 150 yards, a short one. And then I want one that's 230, 240 these days, okay, where you actually put a 4-iron in a tour player's hand. It used to be a 3-wood from that distance, but put a 4-iron in their hand and then get 2 middle par 3s, and you may have one with water. And, it's funny, a frontal hazard never bothers a good player. The side hazards do. So if you're going to have a water hazard, you don't want it out in front. You really want it on the side. That's what gets tour players' attention, because they are going to push it and pull it, but they hit it solid every time. So something in front doesn't really bother them very much. And then you're looking at, one really reachable par 5 and one unreachable par 5 that's purely a 3-shotter. And then the other two, they might be semi-reachable, although, again, that's almost impossible in today's world when guys are flying at 330 with a driver and 250 with a 3-wood. You can see how quickly that adds up to 600 yards. So anyway, that's how we start. And then we want a long par 4 on each 9. We want a short par 4, possibly drivable. And again, you're looking for that mix and that balance, all while trying to fit it on the topography. And the topography is the number one designer, and then we're trying to fit around with what God's given us.
Bill, just a couple more before we let you go. And with all the rules changes set to come in January, one of the things that I was surprised to hear some chatter about is the idea of fixing spike marks, and that, guys now, since will be able to sort of fix everything, are going to be tapping down a lot around the hole. And the idea that, guys going to be tapping around the hole, all through 4 rounds in a couple of practice rounds, is that's going to lead to undulations and some untrue rolls as the ball gets closer to the hole. And I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have thought, wow, it's great. Now that you can fix spark marks, that's going to make everything roll truer. But I'm hearing there may be some unintended consequences. Does that make any sense?
I haven't heard that yet, but I would think that's not going to be as big a deal as it sounds, and I don't think it will take players very long to do it because they know specifically where their line is. I will say that I've heard a lot of conversation about the new soft spikes and how they make the spider spikes that actually do more damage to the green than old metal spikes did. And so that's an interesting thing. I love the soft spikes because you can wear them in a restaurant, you can wear them in the clubhouse, you can go anywhere you want with them. so they're convenient for that reason. But superintendents say they do more, they make more marks and more indentations around the hole than metal spikes did. So I hadn't heard that about the tapping it down, but I will. That's something, whenever you bring something up, I'm gonna go ask some of my superintendents and say, what do you think about that? So good question.
Bill, and when you finished a project, I'm always curious. We like to try to keep things on the positive side here, and I got to imagine you've gotten a lot of really positive feedback at the end of all the great redesigns and course designs you've done. But what's the nicest thing someone's ever said to you when you finished a project?
One of my favorites is a member told me that he goes, "You've spoiled me. I don't enjoy playing anywhere but my home course anymore." And that's a big compliment that they like their course so much that they don't really enjoy going other places. They're always disappointed. So that's a big one. And we've had a couple of really cool things. 4 of our most recent projects all have waiting lists now to join the club, and they're obviously private clubs. And I work on a lot of historical, so older ones, some that are from the 20s or even the teens. But 4 of our most recent ones have waiting lists, and so that says a lot. That says people are really enjoying, and they didn't prior to the work, and so that says that people are enjoying playing the golf courses. So that is very rewarding to me when I get the call from a general manager that says, "Hey, we have a waiting list now," and thank you. So that's exciting stuff.
So remind our listeners how they can stay up to date with all the great things you're doing, whether it's on your website or on social media now.
Yeah, so we're really active on social media, and it's funny, as winter approaches, I always do a whole of the week type post because we don't have as many jobs under construction, we don't travel as much in the winter, and it's kind of bleak and dreary, and you're looking for those green grass opportunities and something beautiful. So we go through 18 weeks of a whole of the week, and this year we're going to do transformations, so we're going to do renovations where we show the before we started working and what we finished with, and we're going to do that once a week. So we do that on Twitter, we do it on Instagram, and we do it on Facebook. And then obviously our website at www.bergingolf.com. But we're very active on social media. In fact, a lot of my clients, I'm certainly getting jobs because of social media, believe it or not. So it's one of those things where you're on people's mind, and when it's time for them to renovate, they go, "Hey, I've seen his work. Let's give him a call." And that's happening for us. So that's exciting. So we take advantage of the social media and enjoy it.
That's fantastic. Good for you. Well, Bill, it's always great having you as part of the show. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come back and join me again tonight. I hope you'll come back a little bit later on in the winter as we can start to get people excited about some of the things that you're going to have coming up in the spring. But thank you for being here tonight.
It's my pleasure, and you guys keep up with the Macklemore project. It's definitely a resort that people can come play, and we look forward to showing more of it as we get ready to open it up. So thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing it. Take care, Bill. All the best to you and your family. We'll catch up soon.
Same to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Same to you. Folks, that's the great Bill Bergin. And again, it's bergingolf.com and at Bergin Golf on social media. Great stuff. Macklemore, I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, please, I highly encourage you, go online. themacklemore.com is the website, and it looks absolutely spectacular. And when you talk about a high-end resort hotel on the property as well, boy, that's going to be a place. It's just outside of Chattanooga. So really looking forward to going to check out that property before long. All right, folks, time for me to put a bow on this episode of Next on the Tee. My sincere thanks to Michelle Holmes and Bill Bergin for joining me tonight. Please give me your thoughts. Check out our page on Facebook, Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro. Go right on there. Give me a comment. Let me know what you think of the show. Please check out our website, nextonthetee.net. On there, you'll be able to see who some of our future guests are going to be. Plus, we link back to our page over on Podbean. I can't thank those folks enough for featuring us right there in their golf section. You can download the Podbean app and take us with you everywhere you go, or go online to podbean.com. Again, all of our shows, all of our archive episodes are there for you for free to stream at your leisure. Please also check out our sister show on the football side, Thursday Night Tailgate with me and my co-host Bob Lazari and our announcer Joe LaGenusha. That show airs live every Thursday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can stream it live on Blog Talk Radio. And again, that show, like this one, also available as a free podcast over on Podbean and on iHeartRadio as well. On Thursday Night Tailgate, we're joined every week by 5 NFL legends who come on and share their stories from their playing days, plus give us their insights into what's going on around the league today. Plus, we highlight 2 players doing great things in their communities in our Spotlight on the Positive segment. Again, you can find that show online at ThursdayNightTailgate.com. This show, nextonthet.net. Folks, thanks again for choosing to listen to the show tonight. We really appreciate the fact that you're making this a part of your golf content. Until next week, hit 'em straight, my friends.
You've been listening to Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, where PGA and LPGA pros and top instructors and media members go to tell their stories. Join us the same time every Tuesday to hear more stories about the game we love from people who love sharing those stories with you. It's all about the great game of golf. It's all about